Welcome to DROD'S MMA and Boxing. So Canelo Alvarez and Julio Cesar Chavez sold out the T-Mobile Arena, and this fight is pretty much building up to be the big fight that many people thought it would be. The T-Mobile Arena housed like 20,000 people. This fight sold all 20,000 tickets and all the closed circuit venues around Las Vegas. So the fight is completely sold out. The only way you're gonna watch this fight now is pretty much pay-per-view. That is. Wherever Canelo goes, he's always selling out these big, huge events. Like Miguel Cotto was $12.5 million, the gate revenue. The Con was $7.5 million, and his crowds are always huge. Like the James Kirkland was 31,000, Leo Smith was 50,000. I think Austin Trout was maybe 40,000. I can't really remember. And the ratings are always high. He's got decent pay-per-view numbers, and decent meaning anything over 300,000, in my opinion, is decent, especially if you keep your costs down. I'm an accountant major, so that's what I think about. But one thing you can say is he's a draw, and because he's such a draw, he's always drawing a lot of leeches around him. A lot of people are trying to make money off of his name, trying to slander his name, because that's the only way that they can get more of a bigger cut. And I like what he's doing. He's pretty much doing the Floyd Mayweather thing. He's not letting himself be pimped out by anybody. He's standing up for himself, and it may come at a cost, but I mean, I like to see that. I get so tired of seeing fighters retire, and you look at these guys like these cricket sanctioning bodies, these cricket promoters, rich and living great, while fighters are living in boxes because they've given up their life and they were pimped and used like puppets and trying to be like strongmans and big Vikings running around there knocking everybody out and just not even thinking about their own security and their family security, and just being used by puppets. So I like seeing guys like Floyd and Canelo actually put their foot down and says, nah, you're not for to pimp me out no more. You know what I mean? One thing you're not about to do is make me look like a dodo brain. And so this whole Mauricio Solomon, let me explain to you guys what's going on here. Because I've heard a lot of people, I've read articles and all this other stuff. And first of all, Mauricio Solomon, the Hulchol belt. Now, the Hulchol belt has a lot of significance to it. First, it's named after Adolfo Lopez Mateos, which is the name of the first WBC president. So it has a lot of history to it right there, and it took over 300 man hours to make the belt, and it got about 40,000 different kind of crystal pieces in the belt, and the idea of this belt was to be awarded to Mexicans, only Mexicans, for Cinco de Mayo in September. And the reason being is because the belt is crafted by a Hulchol artist. Now, what is Hulchol? And a lot of people were wondering what's so important about this Hulchol belt? Why is it so? The Hulchol people are basically Aztec descendants, and they live in secluded mountain regions. They're completely independent from civilization, and they still maintain their pre-Columbian culture. They speak the same language and keep the same customs as they did before. They're probably they are the only North American indigenous tribe that still functions as if they were, pre-Columbian days, basically. And so the belt has so much history and so much significance to it. And like I said, it's only going to be presented to Mexican fighters who fight either on Cinco de Mayo or September. And so Canelo rejecting this belt is a huge thing in Mexico. A lot of outside people, like Americans and around the world, they don't understand the whole significance. But you see so many like articles all over the internet and all over YouTube. It's going crazy. Like the Mexicans are like, "How dare you? How dare you?" You know what I mean? I mean, who is this way? Who is this weirdo over here just dissing us like this? And it's crazy because I create this channel because I hate boxing bias. I hate propaganda and media manipulation. And that's what I call it, because what Mauricio Solomon and ESPN and all these other crooked people are doing is they're not telling the full story. And so they are trying to manipulate the people to fatten their own pockets. What Mauricio Solomon is not saying is that he's also recrying a piece of the cut. See, there's a catch to this. See, he's giving this belt to Canelo, but he's saying, I'm going to also charge you sanctioning fees. Sanctioning fees for a non-title belt? Get out of here. See, he wants all the perks and he wants to be involved in this high profile event through Canelo, even though Canelo is not even in part of his organization anymore. He's not even his titleist. Canelo fights for the WBO. So why is the Mauricio Solomon even trying to get involved with Canelo? Only because of money. That's propaganda right there. You see, people, they're not telling the full story. And I actually the only person who I actually read the story on and did a really good story was Rick Reno for the boxing scene. And what I like about what Rick Reno did was he literally just gave you the facts and he quoted Canelo for verbatim. And I listened to Canelo's interview in Spanish and I listened and I read it and it's for verbatim and it's actually correct. A lot of times when I read these people, when they make these articles, um, they don't translate the words properly and they're leaving things out. And like I can't stand journalism is dead to me. Like Dan Ambrose and them, they take pieces of someone's quote and then they flip it. And they don't and you guys don't know. I mean, a lot of people don't even do the research and go further in detail. I mean, you don't have time. I understand. I love boxing. I love fighting, so I ain't got nothing to do with my life. But it irks me, man, because it's like, I mean, tell the full story. That's what you paid to do. Tell the full story. Don't manipulate me. Don't try to twist things up so that your personal agendas can be met. I mean, that's grimy in my opinion. And I like what Rick Reno did. He just literally just quoted Canelo and left it just as it is. And what Canelo said was basically like, look, I got beef with them. I got beef with the whole Triple G situation. I got beef with the whole how they only about money. They make themselves seem like they're this and that, but they really just about money, just as everyone else is. But they're gonna make it seem like the fighter is the person who's greedy and wants money. If anybody should be getting paid, it's the fighter. It shouldn't be the janky sanctioning bodies. I think promoters should get paid because they're the ones who put up the money, but the fighter should be compensated way more than sanctioning bodies. And what Canelo's doing is like Floyd Mayweather. It's unprecedented stuff. He's pretty much telling the sanctioning bodies, look, go away. We don't need you. I don't need you. I don't need you anymore. This is a new day and time. I'm on some whole nother level stuff. And he's not the only one that's done this. It's just that he's the one right now because Floyd's retired, the one that people want to kick around. See, what people don't know is Sugar Ray Robinson was in his dressing room getting ready to go out. He found out there was cameras out there. He said, wait a minute, hold up. There's cameras? They said, yeah, it's cameras. He said, I'm not going out there. What? I'm not going out there until you guys renew my contract. I need an addendum. What? Yes, I'm not stepping out there until you guys pay me for them TV ratings. They said, Chad, we can't make a contract. He said, well, I ain't going out there. So they drafted a contract. Sugar Ray Robinson signed it, went out there and fought. You know what I mean? So Canelo ain't the first one. Floyd ain't the first person to do it either. You know, there's a lot to be said about these cooking sanctioning bodies. And I started really thinking because Miguel Cotto said something. He said, why would I pay $1.1 million to people who don't deserve it? Meaning, why would I pay Triple G $800,000 step aside money when he shouldn't even be the mandatory in the first place because he has titles in different organizations? According to the rules, you can't be the mandatory if you're a champion of a different organization. He was like, that doesn't even make sense. You're the IBF and WBO champion. You should not be the mandatory to the WBC title. You should not be obligated to get 45% of the revenue. It doesn't work that way, right? And he said, why should I pay that? If I want to fight Canelo, I should be able to fight Canelo, and I shouldn't have to pay you $800,000. I shouldn't have to pay the crooked sanctioning bodies $300,000. He said, I don't need you. So he dropped it. And that's how Canelo got hit with that $300,000 he had to pay. But he's not the only one. The WBC is not the only crooked organization. You also got the IBF. And the IBF, what they did to Lennox Lewis was pretty interesting. So Lennox Lewis, first of all, the IBF, like all the other organizations, charge a $3,500 fee to the promoters, sanctioning fee. But then they charge Evander Holyfield $450,000 because he was a champion. And then they turned around and wanted to charge Lennox Lewis $300,000, and he was a challenger. So you charge 450, 300 plus $3,500 to both. $450,000, $300,000, and $3,500 to each of the promoters. And what was the most crooked part of it was the IBF was considering themselves as both profit and non-for-profit, meaning they were going to try to, well, basically were getting tax write-offs for the sanctioning bodies because they were profit and non-for-profit. And they weren't going to let people know what part of the organization was profit and what part of the organization was not-for-profit. And so Lennox Lewis people got mad. They said, man, you're double dipping. And that was the IBF. And who else I could think of? Sergio Martinez. See, he had the same problem because he was the lineal middleweight champion. He was the man, the kingpin of the middleweight division. But because he was a champion in another division, the WBC would not make him the mandatory to Julio Cesar Chavez, who was a champion at the time. And so what he did was he dropped his diamond belt and said, I no longer have nothing to do with you ever again. He dropped the WBC. See, a lot of people don't know that. They watching Face Off and they listen to Julio Cesar Chavez say something like, oh, I went to my promoters and I told them, no. Sergio Martinez was chasing him around, and the WBC and Julio's promoters and managers were basically giving Martinez the runaround. And that's why Sergio Martinez dropped the diamond belt. And Canelo is kind of like in the same situation because before the whole Miguel Cotto fight, they were not interested in going to middleweight. They just wanted Miguel Cotto. That's what they wanted. And when Miguel Cotto dropped the belt, he got stuck with the $300,000 fee. He paid it. So he kept it. So he paid the sanction fee and then he kept the belt. It is what it is. I wasn't for that 155-pound weight crap in the first place. But, it's a business, and most importantly, a lot of people complain that Canelo's all business. Well, if you think of it like this, if I'm going to pay you 3% of my purse, and then I turn back around and I pay this mandatory fighter 45% plus the 10% win bonus, that means I'm the dodo here. I'm the bobo because I'm bringing in the revenue. Not only am I paying you 3% of my purse, but now I'm going to pay this other person 55%. Considering he win, because a lot of people don't know that it's a 45% for the mandatory, but it's also 10% if you lose the fight, because 10% goes to the winner. And also, if the fight goes to purse bid, then the promoter has to put up cash in front. So now you're putting up cash in advance, and I'm an accountant major, so I think about current assets. And so now I'm putting up all this money up in advance, and I have to wait 6 months, 7 months, or however long the fight takes until I can reap the benefit of the reward. You think of it like this. You have a house, you have an apartment. You're going to put your first and last month deposit down, your first and last month rent, your deposit, but you can't stay in your house until 3 or 4 months. How would you feel about that? And you have to continue paying rent somewhere else. It's a business, and it's a business all the way around, and so people need to pretty much do what you got to do and report the stuff correctly. This is DROD'S MMA and Boxing. I'm out.